Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So, we have about 14 presentations today. Again, if you can try your best, please, to stay for as many presentations as you can so you can see what other people have been working on. That would be fantastic. But we'll go ahead and get started with our first presentation today. So first up we have, and again, please correct me if I mispronounce your name, Lainez Lopez Gonzalez.
Hi, yes. I
Awesome.
can
Okay.
share my screen.
Yep, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Let me turn on my camera and share my screen. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, perfect. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Research Lopez. I'm currently an undergrad student at the Inter-American University of Puerto Rico in Aguadilla. And today I'll be talking about antibiotic resistance. So, first of all, antibiotic resistance is a serious global health issue. For some context, antibiotics are drugs used to kill or stop the growth of bacteria, but resistance occurs when this medication no longer responds. So, over years of use, bacteria have adapted to antibiotics developed to kill them, making this a serious problem, and infections become difficult or impossible to treat. For this reason, I consider that further research is needed in order to enhance the quality of life for patients and to improve the medical healthcare system. Now I'll be moving forward with the problems. Here we have a little bit of a diagram. So the first problem is increase of disease spread. So the resistant bacteria are hard to treat, and it is very easy to spread among individuals and communities. The increased medical costs, because treating infections is complicated and may require longer hospital stays, expensive drugs, and additional medical interventions. And infections are difficult or impossible to treat because of the limited treatment they have because of the resistant bacteria. And all of the above result in risk of complications and severe illness and also long-term health issues. Now, moving with how does it occur? So I have this diagram in which the red bacteria are resistant bacteria and the green ones are both the beneficial and the harmful bacteria. Because yes, we have beneficial bacteria in our body. Those bacteria combat infectious diseases and support our immune system. So in any bacterial population, we have a small bacteria that are resistant with that. This is a natural mutation. So when we drink antibiotics, we kill both the beneficial and the harmful bacteria, leaving alone the resistant bacteria. So the resistant bacteria take over, multiply, and this is how the transfer is made. Resistant bacteria can transfer their resistance to beneficial or harmful bacteria. And to combat this problem, I proposed a solution called the Smart Infection Control System. This is a new system that helps doctors choose the right antibiotics and track how well they are working. It combines an AI software and quick testing in order to monitor the antibiotic resistance. The process to make it work is to take a blood sample from the patient, insert it into a portable machine, and wait just 5 minutes to get the best accurate results according to the patient's age, health, and medical history. And a fast way we can get the result we need to treat the infection. We treat the infection accurately so that the patient's health remains stable and complications are greatly reduced. So, in conclusion, antibiotic resistance presents a significant global health issue. It makes treating infections challenging, and this issue arises from the misuse or the excessive use of antibiotics. We must know that antibiotics is only used to treat bacterial infections and not viral infections. That's why the smart infection control system, the proposed solution, is the major step forward in combating antibiotic resistance. This invention helps improve antibiotic precision by enhancing patient outcomes and preserving the effectiveness of current antibiotics. This is why the proposed solution is an excellent system that will guarantee antibiotics effectiveness in fighting infectious diseases for future generations. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay, great job. I'll give you a little virtual round of applause. But I'll give you a second and then we'll ask you some questions. But great job. It was a great format of presenting. I like the whiteboard behind you and the infographic you made. I was just curious, how much would a system like this cost to implement in hospitals? Is it cost effective?
It is cost effective. However, it may require some staff training that it may take a little bit of time.
Okay, yeah. And do you foresee any other limitations with like people potentially being resistant to a system like this, or do you think this is something that could be implemented with ease?
I think it could be implemented in a great way. However, patients always have they may be scared of their information being shared with everyone else or with people outside of um the medical stuff. So I think that will be the only thing that will make it a little bit hard to implement.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, no, that's great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll give one more minute and then we'll go to our next presentation. But thank you so much again. Great job. Okay, so up next we have Dhruti.
Hi, can I share my screen?
Yep, go for it.
So, good morning. My name is Dhruti Yuvraj, and I will be presenting an AI-integrated crowdsourced bioinformatics platform for ovarian cancer. So let's start with a little bit of background information. What is bioinformatics? Bioinformatics is a scientific discipline that involves using technology to understand biological data. An example of this is using DNA and amino acid sequences to understand diseases so that we can better diagnose them and treat them. So the global health challenge that I'm trying to address is ovarian cancer. Ovarian cancer begins in the ovaries, but it can spread to the rest of the reproductive organs and abdominal area. The reason it's such a hard cancer to treat is because it often goes undetected until it reaches the more severe stages. 9 out of every 10 ovarian cancer cases is cancer that's found on the epithelium, which is the outer covering of the ovaries. The most common forms of this disease are high-grade serous carcinoma, or HGSC, low-grade endometrioid carcinoma, and some of the less common forms are other low-grade carcinomas and malignant germ cell tumors, among others. So why is this such a major global health issue? Cancer itself is one of the leading causes of medical deaths across the world. Ovarian cancer is specifically deadly because it's one of the leading causes of cancer deaths among women. The statistics are scary, but just in 1 year in the US alone, about 19,680 women will receive a new diagnosis, while about 12,740 will die from it. The solution I'm proposing is an AI-integrated bioinformatics platform for early detection and prevention of ovarian cancer. I will get into the individual features of this platform later, but right now, let's discuss the steps towards the implementation of the solution. So the first step is the creation of this platform. First, we need to develop the platform. To do this, we're establishing a secure cloud-based infrastructure that contains large data sets that includes profiles of different ovarian cancers, as well as their FDA-approved drugs and mechanisms. This database will be crowdsourced, which means inviting global research institutions, hospitals, and biotechnology companies that will then contribute data from their research and drug information. The second step is AI and machine learning integration. First, we will be utilizing the AI to analyze this large database of both cancer and genomic data, as well as specific cancer profiles and the biomarkers of existing drugs, so that it can cross-reference it within the database. Then, these AI predictive models will not only be able to detect and prevent cancer in at-risk patients, it will also be able to propose new drug repurposing opportunities and treatment options for existing patients. An example is oral contraceptives or birth control drastically reduces the risk of developing ovarian cancer, even though the drug is originally used for different purposes. So it can be used as a preventative measure. Third step is introducing collaborative features. The three major features for collaboration on this platform are a messaging service, video conference options, and collaborative boards. The chat feature makes it easier to communicate both with specialists and an inbuilt AI chatbot. The video conference option is a great resource to communicate with experts that are willing to offer their input. And lastly, research in complicated cases can be posted on the boards and discussed with ease. The fourth step is validation and testing of this platform, because testing is important with any sort of technology. To do that, we need to run computational models and run trials to ensure that the platform and AI work accurately. And to minimize errors, it is also helpful to collaborate with clinical researchers to test the predictions made by this platform in the lab and during clinical trials. The fifth step and final step is implementation and monitoring. To implement this technology, we need to create a continuous feedback loop so that the clinical outcomes and research findings from the predictions are fed back into the system to refine it. This platform can also identify and show openings in new clinical trials. So who's the target audience, or who does this product really help? The target audience for this platform is physicians, junior doctors, and residents. Doctors can use this as a valuable asset in dealing with complicated cases, while junior doctors and residents can use it as an assistive tool. Other people that can benefit from this platform are university students that are looking to do research, labs that want to collaborate globally with ease, and pharmaceutical companies. So all the major features offered by this platform are clinical trial finding services, which quickly locate relevant trials that match the patient's eligibility, location, and disease progression. And collaboration by engaging with experts and peers to share insights, research updates, and discuss strategies for treatment. And lastly, communication that facilitates real-time consultations and discussions between researchers, physicians, students, and patients. Some other capabilities are its ability to spot early signs of ovarian cancer and identify existing drugs that target similar pathways to prevent or treat the disease, and its ability to use AI to aggregate and analyze vast amounts of data to provide comprehensive insights. Why is this platform important? Ovarian cancer is a tough cancer to deal with because of its varieties and metastatic nature. This platform not only provides effective diagnosis and treatment with the help of AI, it is also able to quickly identify and prevent disease progression with the help of an extensive database and drug repurposing. This is my works cited, and thank you.
Awesome, great job, great use of visuals to help explain and set up the background nicely and let us know exactly what your project was about. So great job. We'll give you a little round of applause here. So just have a couple questions for you. So the first one is, you mentioned that the platform could potentially be used for like communication with patients. So in order for that to happen virtually, you would need for all of the patients to have like a stable Wi-Fi connection, which I know sounds simple to us if we, live in an area where Wi-Fi is readily available. But could you potentially foresee any limitations with patients that don't live in an area where they'd be able to communicate with their doctors super easily?
So the primary use of the communication features in this platform is for it to be between physicians and professionals in the field. So just in case the patients don't have access to a stable internet connection or this platform, they can still collaborate with their doctors who will have access to this platform, and that's what I foresee will happen.
Okay. And then my last question is, so yes, going off of the fact that this is kind of marketed more towards doctors and residents, do you think it should be a system that should be used first if they're having issues with diagnosing a patient or something, or rather something that they maybe consult after they've tried to work through the diagnosis with their team?
I feel like working through the diagnosis with their team is obviously a good option because it's in real life and it's easier to consult their peers. But I definitely think this platform is a great resource and a great opportunity to allow global collaboration and also bring in new ideas and new inputs because there might be research and different sorts of cases or like similar cases in different countries and areas that could potentially be used as a reference for their case.
Awesome. Okay, that was it. Thank you so much. Great job. Okay. Up next, we have Gitanjali.
Let me just share my screen real quick. All right. Can you guys see that?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. So, hi everyone. My name is Gitanjali, and today I'm going to be targeting mental health disparity in teens. So, this is what we're going to be talking about today. So, we're going to be talking about the issue itself, the solution overview, the basis of the solution, the execution, the pros and cons, possible setbacks, and similar solutions. So a little bit about myself. I am a junior in high school, and I'm very passionate about mental health. It's something I've been working towards for about 4 years. So it's something that I really love to talk about and really delve into. So this presentation and this research really means a lot to me. So the issue. So there has been a rapid increase in mental health issues amongst teenagers, especially. So after COVID-19, due to isolation, quarantine, lack of social interaction, it forced teenagers to feel a sense of isolation, and depression and suicide rates skyrocketed throughout the United States. So teenagers were most severely impacted during this time because it was a stage of mental development, which truly impacted the basic foundations of their mental health. So these are some interesting statistics. So 44% of teens persistently felt sad and hopeless after COVID-19. And the suicide rate from 2007 to 2018, without COVID-19 being played into it, has rose from 6.8% to 10.7% in the United States, showing that it's not just because of COVID-19, but a general social development that suicide rates and depression and mental health are all rising. And then 1 in 7 adolescents currently in the world are facing a rapid decline of mental health. So that is 1/7 of our population. So our solution overview. So this is just a general idea, but what it is an AI self-adaptive game that will be implemented into school curriculum for 15 minutes in the morning. And this program will occur through an AI self-adaptive course that diagnoses and configures the student's experience according to a placement test that they take at the beginning of the course. And the course will be in an interactive game format, so it includes levels, power-ups, points, and prizes to ensure that children are interested, because mental health can be a difficult topic to understand and comprehend and accept. And this interactive format will also increase focus and ensure that more knowledge is digested into the student, as shown in research in the past. So the basis of the solution. So this solution comes from the basic idea that school is the central point where all students learn their information from. So being able to learn about mental health from school already sets a good positive stage for them because it helps them realize that it's something that they should know and learn about, and it's very integral towards a good life quality. 59% of schools in the United States already have a program to set aside work time, like a flex time or just a homework time, to finish work and get ahead in their schoolwork. But research has found that being able to have a healthy mental state of mind is associated with having higher levels of productivity. So ensuring that this time, these 15 minutes are spent towards mental health will actually save more time in the long run. Now, the execution of the solution. So a general overview is planning, designing, testing, evaluation, implementation, monitoring, reporting, and advocating. So planning. Planning would first begin by conducting surveys with specific targeted high schools or normal middle schools and elementary schools. Then we would be engaging with their educational departments, state government, local governments, and health departments to ensure that we're following all their guidelines and any wishes that they have in our program. Then contacting and collaborating with other mental health NGOs to ensure that they are spreading awareness to people in our community to rally support for the cause and for us to collect a wider range of data on the things that we need to implement into our program. Then designing the program itself. So it is a program that will have an initial survey for the students to take to determine what their mental health issue is, whether it's developing or already there. And the survey will be developed by psychologists and people in the field of psychology to ensure that the data is accurate, the questions are good, and the results will be more prevalent and usable for the purposes of this solution. And then developing the AI system of itself, it should be capable of analyzing and creating a personalized pathway for each student. And then curating age-appropriate activities and games to ensure relevance and ensure that it aligns with their objectives of what they need to learn. Then pilot testing will be occurring in a very diverse set of schools to ensure that we understand the sort of impacts that various factors can have in the results from our experiment. And then implementing pilot programs through staff and teachers to ensure that they know what's happening before we go ahead and give it to the students at their school. And then finally, when pilot testing is done, we'll gather feedback from all participants, including teachers, staff, faculty, parents, and the students themselves who went through the program. And then for evaluation, we'll analyze the data that we get off of the AI system along with the participants' reviews to ensure that we can make adjustments to our system, our program, how we contact people, anything they need, to ensure that we meet that and we edit it before the final release. And then going through one final ethical review to adhere to all the departments that we're working under, whether that be psychology, data privacy, and health information. Then solutions continued. So implementation is going to take a lot more time because you need to slowly scale up the number of schools that you can release this program to. And we would be running campaigns to ensure that awareness is still going out so schools are a lot more receptive of the program before it gets there. Then continuing to work with educational authorities to slowly make the program an educational standard in the school curriculum. Then monitoring to ensure that the program is maintaining itself, so it's very relevant with the students, and we do regular updates and evaluations of the AI system. Then conducting long-term studies, so longitudinal studies to ensure that we understand the lasting impact of this and the students' mental health and their general success. And then ensuring that we update the games to be relevant, to have more fun features every now and then, just so that the students themselves feel like they can have more fun with the game. Then reporting will occur throughout all steps of this process. It's really an overlying umbrella. So documenting all phases of this process, the things that we see, the people that we meet, people that we talk to, people who feel receptive, to ensure that we're keeping a good documented understanding of this to refer back to in any situation. And then providing regular updates to faculty and parents. So these are the people who are sort of stakeholders in this program with their time and investment of their children's time. So just ensuring that we're contacting them, letting them know what's happening in the process and what the impact is for them. Then advocating is to ensure that we're contacting policymakers to ensure that our message and our program is going out there. Pros and cons. So generally, it doesn't require a large investment of capital, and it's easily accessible as in the United States because 97% of people have access to Wi-Fi in the US. And then it might be a little bit difficult just because benchmarks are going to be difficult for students to answer reliably accurately, especially the first placement testing. So to counteract this, even if they answer dishonestly, we believe that it's the first step towards understanding your mental health and sort of going through your mental health journey. Along with this, there'll be disguised placement testing throughout the program to ensure that we can see accurate results and compare it to the first test accuracy. And then students requiring parental consent. So parents might not be receptive of this idea itself. So ensuring that we're advocating ourselves outside of our program, advocating the general idea of mental health is sort of the best way to counteract this. Possible setbacks. So bureaucratic delays like paperwork, all of that. The best way to go against this is lobbying with policymakers to ensure that we sort of counteract this. Then resistance from schools and communities, like I mentioned early. So the best way to target this is workshops and Q&A sessions, along with ensuring that teachers and faculty sort of directly communicate, because parents can sometimes have more trust in their local people than they do with a big organization. Then sustaining long-term engagement by updating characters, games, seasonal events, and trying to implement mental health as a part of the school culture rather than a simple task that they need to get over with. Now, finally, similar solutions. So other innovations have occurred with mental health, especially nowadays. 12 states in the United States require or allow students to take mental health days. But the problem with this is that students may not understand yet what their mental health needs are until they have a better perspective of what mental health is and how their minds work. And then the Georgia Hope is a clinical psychology support group, meaning that instead of simple like games and interactive formats that may be more interesting to students and simple for them to understand, it provides professional clinical support. And one of the biggest issues for this is it's not as interactive or something that students might find as interesting. And B, it takes a large capital investment because you need all sorts of professionals and people to make this occur. And these are all of my references. And then thank you. And if you need mental health support, make sure to check out my nonprofit on Instagram. It's Empath. We're a mental health support group that sort of outlines what I talked about today.
Awesome. Okay, great job. Great job thinking through all of the potential setbacks as well. I'll give you a little virtual round of applause and give you a second, then we'll ask some questions. So great job again, like I mentioned, going through all of the potential setbacks. So I was just wondering, you might have talked about this, but what is the potential cost associated with implementing this in schools? Like, what timeline do you think would be the most reasonable? Do schools need to gather funds to kind of implement something like this? Or do you think this is something where after you've developed the surveys, you could kind of get it up and running pretty quickly?
Okay, so actually this would be a very low cost effective program because it's simply an AI development system, which is a lot more easier nowadays than anything else is for a solution, especially in healthcare. So it's probably just the cost of the website, and then implementation in schools itself would be very cost effective as well, considering the fact that most schools in the United States, not speaking internationally, in the United States already have access to like a Chromebook or some sort of laptop of some sort, or students will have their phones it's not like technology is something that's easily accessible for students. So that sort of makes the program entirely cost effective because students already have, like, say, for another solution, it might be like a shop or like access to hospitals, but students already have that. Like it's pre-established, it's there in their society, it's there in their culture. They just have to be able to learn to use it for the right thing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much
Mhm.
again. Great
Of
presentation.
course. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So if our next group is ready, we have Ayan, Michelle, and Annabelle. Feel free to share your screen and get started.
Hello, everybody. Let me just share my screen real quick. Oh, um, 1 second. Sorry.
No worries.
Can you see my screen?
Not right now, I can't. Okay, now I can see it.
Okay. So for our topic, we chose the Parkinson's disease. My teammates were Michelle Zhang and then Annabelle Chen. They're not here today, unfortunately. So this is just a table of contents to keep everything organized. So we're going to be going over the problem and the overview, like the importance of the diagnosis, risk factors, symptoms, previous solutions, our solution, and estimated cost, and pros and cons. So here's an overview. Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological disorder that affects movement. It occurs when the nerve cells in the brain that produce dopamine are damaged. Parkinson's disease is not a repro, however, sometimes it is referenced as PD. It was named after a famous physician named James Parkinson. Here's a little diagram. As you can see over here, it targets the substernia nigra, which is the center for dopamine presenting cells. As you can see here, how it looks for a healthy patient under the substernia nigra diagram over here. While the diminished one, you could see that it's affected by PD, and you could see the different neurons. Here's the diagnosis. So being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease is crucial because it makes early intervention possible, which can reduce the disease symptoms. Accurate diagnosis helps with treatments and to manage the symptoms more effectively and provide patients with the necessary support. So as of 2022, there is still no diagnosis, although there are some medications that help with the symptoms, but not exactly target at the symptoms. So here are the symptoms. So tremors. Tremors are uncontrolled shaking, usually starting in the hands, but move to the legs slowly. Slow movement. So movement becomes slower and harder, and it usually happens to older age. Rigid muscles. Muscles feel stiff and they won't move as easy. And then impaired balance. It's harder to keep your imbalance, leading to more falls and having trouble walking. Speech changes. Your speech may become more you may have speech changes, talking more, become more unclear or quiet, and then your handwriting may get smaller and harder to read. So here are previous solutions that have been done. Deep brain stimulation. Surgeons implanted electrodes in the brain to regulate abnormal brain activity to improve movement. Physical therapy has happened that focus on exercises that enhance balance, flexibility, and movement control. And the horizontal test. Researchers are studying a Parkinson's disease test that can detect the disease before symptoms. The test is called the alpha syncletic seed, looking for clumps of protein. Alpha syncletic that forms a clot that the body can't break down. The clump leads to spread and damage of the brain cells. Here's our solution. So we developed a device that addresses dopamine production directly. This device would have two main functions. First of all, it will target and repair in the areas responsible for producing dopamine, like the substernal nigra. Next, it would simulate the function of the substrate nigra to support production. Why is our solution helpful? Our solution is helpful because it directly targets and repairs the substrate nigra to reduce production. This can improve motor function and reduce symptoms more effectively and without the medication alone. The estimated cost. So the estimated cost, it can be expensive as it depends on the factors like development, manufacturing, and clinical trials. However, a rough estimate could be $500,000. With the treatment, we could give insurance, coverage, grant, and funding plans. Pros versus cons. So this is non-invasive. It's convenient because, as you know, our world is becoming more technology-based, so it will be easier for people. It's environment friendly because it does not use too much parts around the world. And the consistency. We could do daily trials on patients and help out while making a list of things that are wrong with it, and then we could use that money to improve our situation. The cons are it's very costly. It could take a long time for changes to occur. It could disturb others on the road and Wi-Fi issues. Some may not have Wi-Fi all around the world. And here are my references.
Awesome. Okay, great job. We'll give you a little round of applause. Great job presenting some engaging visuals and explaining to us what the problem is. So I know you mentioned one of the potential limitations was the cost, and you mentioned that it might cost upwards of $500,000, but
That's correct.
insurance companies might be able to cover it. So do you have any idea of how much you think the insurance companies would be able to cover? Like, how much do you think after insurance, let's say this was implemented in the US, what would it cost the patient? It can just be an estimate.
I feel like it honestly depends on the insurance and like which treatment you're going for, because Parkinson's disease, it has like different things. So let's say if it's like an early diagnosis, it could be the insurance could be a little bit, but like I feel like it's like if it's more of like there's more symptoms and there's more problems involved, I feel like it'll be a higher cost. But I feel like it'll be around like maybe like a good 10K that they could cover.
Okay. And my last question for you is, so the I from what I understand from your solution, you want to kind of target the substantia nigra in the brain that produces all of these motor movements that we see diminished in patients that have Parkinson's disease. So would you have to do any clinical trials just to make sure the device is working in the first place before you kind of move on to administering it, or?
Yes, we were also planning on doing clinical trials, but our situation is AI based, so we could use AI to do those clinical trials if that helps out. And also, before those clinical trials, while we're doing patients, we could test it on something.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Trisha, and the next presenter is going to be Alyssa. Is Alyssa here?
Yeah, hi, sorry.
Hi.
Am I all good to share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Sorry, just give me one moment.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, can you guys all hear me okay?
Mhm.
Perfect. Okay. All right, so a bit about me first. My name's Alyssa, and I'm about to go into my second year of biochemistry at McMaster University in Ontario. And today I'm going to talk about fighting antibiotic resistance using the complement immune system. So I will be going over what antibiotic resistance is, causes and the risks associated with it, one particular strain of antibiotic resistant bacteria called MRSA, then just a general overview of the complement system and humoral immunity, and then I'm going to propose a treatment and then just wrap up from there. All right, so as mentioned in an earlier presentation, antibiotics are medications that slow the growth of or kill bacteria. Many species of bacteria are becoming resistant to lots of common antibiotics, meaning that they're infections could soon become untreatable. Without antibiotics, humans would be dangerously susceptible to many infections. So, some bacterial cells naturally carry antibiotic-resistant genes because of random mutations, and these can cause bacteria to survive antibiotic treatment and continue to reproduce, while non-resistant bacteria will die and those genes will be lost. Another way of acquiring resistance is horizontal gene transfer, or HGT. This is where bacteria can acquire resistant DNA from distantly related cells. And these both heavily contribute to antibiotic resistance in several species of bacteria. So, the misuse of antibiotics heavily contributes to rising levels of resistance, as subtherapeutic doses of antibiotics promote resistant adaptations in the body. Despite rising levels of antibiotic resistance, there's not a significant amount of research being done, as there's not a huge economical incentive for pharmaceutical industries to produce curative medications like antibiotics. The WHO has considered antibiotic resistance to be one of the top global health threats due to large amounts of deaths worldwide that are associated with it.
Hi, Alyssa. Just an FYI, I don't think we can see your presentation. Are you sharing it with us?
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry about that. Let me just...
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I definitely was supposed to be sharing that right now. I don't know why that didn't go through. Okay. How about now?
Yes, we can see it now. Perfect.
Okay, thank you so much for letting me know.
Of course, of course.
All right. Anyway, so next I'm going to be talking about one specific strain of antibiotic-resistant bacteria called methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, or MRSA. So, Staphylococcus aureus is a common bacteria found in the skin and nose in the human microbiome. And like any bacteria, it has a potential to cause infection. However, in recent years, a new strain of this bacteria has evolved, and it is resistant to a class of antibiotics called beta-lactam antibiotics, which happen to be the most commonly used antibiotic class. So, the issue is 53 million people estimated are colonized by MRSA instead of the original strain of Staphylococcus aureus, which poses a risk of antibiotic resistance to themselves. Oh, I'm not actually presenting. My bad. Anyway, so there's a genomic island that has been incorporated into the genome of MRSA, which encodes its characteristic resistance to beta-lactam antibiotics. And this is known as the SCC-MEC, or staphylococcal cassette chromosome MEC. All right, so the complement system. The complement system is an innate immune system process that's comprised of several proteins, which, when activated by IgG and IgM antibodies, form a pore complex, resulting in acute bacterial cell lysis. So, following several enzymatic cleavages and protein additions, the membrane attack complex, or MAC, forms in a bacterial cell, resulting in a massive influx of water and ions and essentially exploding the cell, which I think is pretty cool. These images can just help you visualize the classical pathway, which is the only antibody activation pathway, and just what the MAC looks like. So, humoral immunity. Antibodies are proteins produced by the body's B cells following antigen detection, and these proteins help neutralize antigens, which are foreign protein markers from pathogens. There are 5 isotypes of antibodies each with specialized functions, and those are IgA, IgD, IgE, IgG, and IgM. And Ig just stands for immunoglobulin, which is another term for an antibody. So, monoclonal antibody treatments. Monoclonal antibodies are lab-made antibodies with pre-selected specificity to antigens. They can be isolated and cloned in a lab and then injected into the patient to mimic the body's immune response. There are several different types of monoclonal antibodies. Each of them are comprised of mouse, human, or a combination of the two. Currently, IgG antibodies are the only antibodies that are used in monoclonal antibody treatments just because of their stability and accessibility. In terms of initiating the complement cascade, IgG1 is the best subtype to use. So, my proposed treatment is using monoclonal antibodies to trigger MEC assembly in MRSA pathogens. And as mentioned previously, the complement cascade is activated by antibodies. And knowing that IgG antibodies can be isolated and cloned, it's logical to assume that IgG1 monoclonal antibodies specific to MRSA could be isolated and administered as a therapeutic targeting the infection. So this alternative approach could be applied to other superbugs or extremely resistant bacteria, meaning that any research done on this could likely be transferable to those areas. Further research is going to be needed to isolate the specific IgG1 antibody that targets MRSA and the antigen that it would target. However, the literature supports that this is a plausible treatment. So, monoclonal antibodies have been used in the past for cancer treatment as well as several other diseases, but this novel application synthesizes medicine and naturally occurring immune responses to provide a new approach to fighting antibiotic-resistant bacteria. So, the FDA has extremely strict guidelines for preclinical safety evaluations of biotechnology injectables, such as monoclonal antibodies. So obviously, these would need to be adhered to. Some tests that would need to be ran are general toxicology, reproductive toxicology, finding safe dose ranges, assessing the binding potential of the monoclonal antibody to the target antigen in various tissues throughout the body, assessing the drug's activity throughout various body systems, and investigating immunogenicity, which is the drug's ability to mount an immune response in the body and be actually fought by the body's immune system. And clinical trials in humans will only be conducted after these tests are completed. So, some logistics and limitations are that non-human primates will be intentionally infected with MRSA bacteria for toxicology and dose range finding, which poses an ethical concern. I initially looked into using humanized mice as a test subject. However, they do not have the same monoclonal antibody antigen binding mechanisms as humans, and they aren't super pharmacologically relevant. But yeah, that poses a major ethical concern. As mentioned previously, curative treatments don't pose a large economic incentive, so funding would likely need to be obtained from research grants or biotechnology investors. And then there are some risks associated with this form of treatment. One example is accidental MAC formation on self cells, which can result in a lot of inflammatory responses due to the lytic products being released into the body. And additionally, prolonged use of these drugs can result in the formation of anti-drug antibodies, and the body's immune system can reduce the efficacy of the drug. It's also important to note that proteins, such as antibodies, can denature when exposed to high temperatures, and so they should be kept cold. And as with any injectable, they should be administered in a clean environment by a trained healthcare provider. All right, to conclude, using monoclonal antibodies to initiate the complement cascade is an exciting new treatment for MRSA. While MRSA is the main focus of this particular presentation, the treatment can be successful in neutralizing many bacterial pathogens, providing a new perspective on treatment of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. All right, and that's all for me. Here are all of my references, and I also want to say a huge thank you to Catherine Matthew for looking over this presentation and providing some feedback.
Okay, wonderful. Great job. We'll give you a little round of applause. Your description and your solution was very thorough. Great job thinking through the necessity of having clinical trials and how the patients might react in their own immune systems. So one just quick question I have is, do you think the likelihood of patients rejecting this, so immune rejection is high or low, or do you have any ways to potentially combat that? I know you mentioned your clinical trials as well.
Yeah, of course. So, as I mentioned during the presentation, there are several different types of monoclonal antibodies that can be isolated. And the one that has the lowest probability of mounting an immune response in the body is 100% human antibodies. So, those would likely be the ones that are chosen for the treatment just because they're much lower risk.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much. Great job again.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Trisha, you want to introduce our next group?
Of course. Okay, so let's see who we have next. Give me 1 second. Okay, so next, can we have Yasin Mohammed?
Okay, yes, I'm in his team and I'm gonna share my screen in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, can Alyssa actually disable her screen sharing because I cannot share at the same time. Thank you. Okay, are you able to see it?
Yes, we're able to see it.
Okay. So hello everybody. Today we're going to be presenting our solution to the global health issue we chose, which is low respiratory infections, specifically in low-income areas. So we are Team Illuminari, and this is our list of contents. And this is also an infographic. You can have like a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about today. But before that, we're going to actually tell you everything you need to know about low respiratory infections. So LRTIs, or lower respiratory tract infections, are a type of infections in the lung where usually a virus, or less commonly a bacteria or other organisms, infects the lower airways of the lungs. It affects the lower part of the respiratory system below the level of the larynx, and its common type include bronchitis, bronchiolitis, pneumonia, and tuberculosis. So LRTIs are alarming because of their high mortality rates. For instance, in 2019, 2.4 million people died from them, as well as their dangerous complications like congestive heart failure, respiratory failure, sepsis, and lung abscesses, in addition to their high contagiousness. So LRTIs are highly contagious because it can be spread in the air when someone coughs or sneezes. It can be spread to someone else. Now we're gonna be moving to its sources and causes. So LRTIs can be caused by air pollution, like microplastics, coming from burning rubbish, dust, chemicals, vapors, allergen, and fumes. All of these can cause and irritate LRTI. In addition to fungal infections, viruses, bacteria, and mycoplasma. So mycoplasma are the smallest free living organisms. They come in different shapes and they don't have cell walls, so they are neither viruses nor bacteria. Now we're going to talk about why is it common in poor areas and who is most affected by it. So LRTIs are common in underserved areas because of malnourishment. So if your body lacks diverse nutrient-rich food, this could make your immune system more prone to LRTI, as well as lack of sanitation and health education, difficulty accessing clean water. So if your water, contains harmful bacteria like Legionella pneumophilia, this can give you LRTI.
in addition to some environmental problems. So LRTIs mostly affect infants, the elderly, individuals with a weakened system, as showcased here in this graph. It's showcasing the age standardized incidence of LRTI in 100,000 population in the MENA region. And as you can see, children and infants are the most affected by it. And the incidence rates actually diminish until you reach the age of 60. Now we're going to talk about LRTI's mortality rates. So LRTIs unfortunately cause about 2.4 to 2.6 million deaths per year globally. They are one of the leading causes of death in the world, and the highest mortality rates are seen in low-income countries. As you can see here in this graph, showcasing the 10 leading causes of death in low-income countries worldwide in 2021, and lower respiratory infections are sitting on top. Now we're moving on to the question of why did we choose this global health issue, and I'm leaving the floor to my teammate Mina.
So one of the most important question, why did we choose this global health issue? Air pollution, poverty, health issues, all of these are good reasons to take a step towards fighting the major problem pollution and helping poor communities who suffer and die every single year from lung diseases, bacteria, infections, and skin diseases. As you see in the graph, the asthma rates in different financial groups. According to 2021 paper by Dr. Adam Gaffney, asthma rates increased among children in all income groups after 1980, but rising sharply among poorer households. In 2017 to 2018, rates among the poor increased to 14.8% compared with 6.8% among children from the highest income families. So what is the challenges without clean air? The poor community suffers silently from poor air quality resulting from smoking, factory smoke, cars, and waste, which has led them to suffer from various diseases, viruses, bacteria infections, and this is especially in cities that are classified as polluted. For example, we have New Delhi. According to a report by Preeta Banerjee in Down to Earth, that since October 28, 2023, the AQI of New Delhi Air Quality Index in India has slipped into the very poor category, beyond entirely by its own emissions. Paying the costs of treatment or improving the quality of life became almost impossible. And now I'm leaving the part to my teammate, Muna.
So now we're going to be introducing Arbor Vitalis, which is Latin for Tree of Life, our innovative solution. So our core solution centers around making advanced air purifiers made in an efficient and cheap way. They contain pre-filters to catch big particles like beta, HEPA filters, which remove particles as small as 0.03 microns like pollen, dust, some allergens, and even mold. A carbon filter, which works through the process of adsorption, not to be confused with absorption, by making liquid and gas molecules stick to its solid surface, therefore eliminating gaseous polymers and combat the odor of pungent smells. In addition, we have an aroma chamber where there's a cartridge made of paper pulp, extracted from recycled paper, and that can be infused with essential oils for a good scent diffusion. And lastly, we added a UVC lamp inside a sterilization room that kills viruses like SARS-CoV-1 and MERS by damaging their DNA, and you can see it here in the beige picture. After that, we're moving to the arbor part, which is the tree. So these air purifiers are going to be placed on an upcycled tree made of polypropylene, which is a material commonly found in plastic, like beverages cup, plastic bags, plastic packages, etc. And each tree will feature 2 air purifiers positioned in 2 opposite directions for optimal purification. So overall, this tree will not only serve as a support to these air purifiers, it will also serve as a dual purpose for reducing plastic waste, as you can see it here in this picture. And also here, we have air entering as like a red arrow, which means it is unfiltered, and then it will exit the pre-filter as an orange arrow, which means that larger particles have been trapped. It will then exit the HEPA filters as a yellow arrow, which means that fine particles have been removed. It will then exit the carbon filter as a green arrow, which means that harmful gases and odors have been removed. It then exits the aroma chamber and the sterilization room and the ventilator as a blue arrow, which means that the unfiltered unfiltered air, has been fully sterilized and infused with essential oils. Now we're going to theoretically talk about how we can apply this idea. So the trees are going to be made of plastic, which will be sourced from community engagement by, for example, organizing community drives and collaborating with local businesses by asking them to put their plastic waste aside. This plastic will later on be transported to recycling facilities where it will be molded into the shape of the desired tree that you can see here in the visuals. As for the air purifier, its casing and support of the fan are going to be 3D printed. Next, the filter and paper pulp cartridge are going to be placed in the order you see in the picture right here. And finally, the UVC lamp is going to be placed inside a coated sterilization chamber. You might wonder why is it coated? Well, because UVC can potentially damage plastic, and the casing and the HEPA filter do contain plastic. So you have to coat it with a UV-resistant paint like titanium dioxide pigment in order to prevent it from penetrating into plastic and damaging the air purifier. Now we're going to talk about how does it compare to similar ideas, and I'm leaving the floor to my teammate Mina again.
So, of course, there are so many similar solutions that have already done before. We're mentioning some of them: spider plants, chrysanthemums, activated carbon, and finally, air filtering drones. However, the most important question is what makes our idea unique? Our idea is unique because we hit three birds with one stone. We will improve air quality at a lower cost, help the poor community overcome the struggle of accessing clean air, and lower the presence of viruses and bacteria that causes them respiratory inflammations, and reduce pollution by recycling plastic, which is also a reason why people are suffering from this global health issue in low-income areas. Moreover, adding the paper pulp cartridge combines air purification with aromatherapy in a sustainable and very eco-friendly way. Paper pulp is biodegradable, reusable, it can be reinfused, and also accessible. In addition, it can be used with solar panels that are connected to a solar charge controller, so that will avoid overload. After that, we can plug into the internal battery in order for it to be used in small places outdoors without being plugged in. And now we'll move into another part and I'll give it to my teammate Gina.
Affordability and applicability. Two main questions about them. Why make plastic trees and not just hang them on nature trees? And also, why use this product and not just plant more trees? It's not possible to mount air purifiers to real trees in impoverished or slum areas, where there may not be any trees. Also, many of these areas lack sufficient space for planting or are heavily overgrown. The price of typical air purifier and the techniques we employ to reduce it. Standard air purifiers typically cost between $200 and $800, depending on their features. Where can arbor visuals be utilized? You can utilize the plastic trees with air purifiers in a variety of places, such as hospital lobbies, outdoor public spaces, and interior houses. They can enhance indoor and outdoor air quality because of their design. Here are the prices. And the total is going to be $81.03 for outdoor usage and $46.25 for indoor usage with taller panels and charge regulators, which is not even close to the quarter of the price of a regular air purifier. And now we're going to go with my teammate Tassim.
Okay, so next up we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of this project. And so from the advantages is that it promotes community recycling engagement. Due to the trees being made out of recycled plastic, it shows community members that the recycled materials could manifest themselves into a beneficial product that they can all benefit from, boosting community engagement in recycling and improving the environment. It also improves health, reduces allergies, and is proven to reduce asthma attacks. According to a paper published in 2021 by the Guangzhou Medical University in China, air purifiers actually have the capability to reduce the severity of asthma attacks due to the increased air quality. It creates a pleasant living environment, gets rid of bad smells, it would eliminate strong odors like smoke, garbage, sewage odors, and human waste. It encourages community bonding, recycling, and decoration of the trees. And also, it has customizable 3D printing casing design to suit client preferences and placement, and you can see an example of that right below. From the disadvantages is that it requires regular filter maintenance, periodically changing the filters and cleaning them. Filters need to be periodically changed or cleaned, and the amount of time between each replacement or cleaning varies according to the environment and the filter. It's limited to small or medium spaces and specifically designed for small areas. It can't be used in large open areas. And outdoor units could be affected by severe weather due to it being powered by solar energy. So it would not function in severe weather conditions like foggy weather, and performance will be decreased during snowing and rain. And some limitations of our project is that the success of our recycling initiative relies heavily on community involvement, which can sometimes be inconsistent. Additionally, the size of our arbor trees might create difficulties in densely populated areas. And if you use the system indoors, multiple air purifiers require several electrical outlets, which are inconvenient and potentially overload the electrical system. And to tackle this, we intend to promote our project to local businesses, align it with current waste management practices. We are creating adaptable versions to fit various environments. And for indoor applications, we are developing a method to connect several purifiers to one circuit with a charge regulator to prevent any electrical overload. And so now I'm going to be leaving it to Fairuz to conclude this presentation.
So now the conclusion of our project. So our project stand out because we are giving a practical solutions that address a critical global health issue. We are also aiming to empower the new generation to come up with an education solution that directly help underserved communities to reduce the impact of low respiratory infection and minimize the air pollution. Our poor vitals doesn't only improve the quality of air, but it also fosters a sense of responsibility and action towards a healthier planet. So our research method is in the process of our research. We use the websites to add our key sources of information. We rely on our report and incredible article to source qualitative and quantitative data in a form of statistics. In addition, we also incorporated our own creative concept into the project by visualizing what our output visual would look like and research the price. So the prices of each component on various online stores to estimate the cost and the stability of each material. The combination of innovation and particles research has allowed us to carefully consider both imaginative solution and real world application, and taught us how to ensure the information extracted in a reliable and up-to-date. Thank you so much.
That was an amazing presentation. I loved your solution on creating air filter, and it was extremely well thought out. And I just wanted to know about the timeline. I know this is going to be more of like a global solution, and I just wanted to know how will different communities have access to this? In what manner do you think they'll have access to this? And how long do you think it'll take for them to get this air filter?
So yes, actually we can collaborate with nonprofit organizations that aim to empower these people, and they care about environmental issues and also global health issues. They can actually distribute it to them. We can start with like hospitals, and then we can actually go and place them in indoor areas for people who are, for example, critically ill or people who have asthma, and then it can be further distributed to anyone. The process might take around 3 months.
Okay, perfect. That is incredible. Thank you so much for the presentation. Okay. So we're gonna go to the next presentation. We have Tanvi Kaliga.
Hi, I'll just share my screen. Can you see my slideshow?
Yes, we can.
You can see my slideshow?
No, I think it's blurred out. It says click to exit full screen.
Sorry, one sec.
Hmm.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen. But I do believe we could see like a little bit of your slides, but that's totally fine.
I'm in presenting mode. Do you see it in presenting mode or?
No, we don't see it in presenting mode.
Oh no. Um, Sorry, I think my computer's having problems. Is it possible for you to present because I sent it?
Yeah, we can
Let's
do
see.
that. If you just like message us a link to your slides, I can share my screen and share it for you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I just sent it, chat.
Give me one sec. Trisha, I don't know if mine is working. Would you potentially be able to see if it works for you?
Yes, give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's not giving me the option to share it.
Okay, let me see. Uh, okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, let's just see if I can do a slideshow right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can
is
see
it
that too.
working?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. Of course.
Sorry about all of that. Okay, hello everyone. Good morning. I'm Tanvi Kalika, a sophomore in high school, and my project idea for this Research Symposium is called Know Your Heart. Next slide, please. Firstly, I'd like to talk about the problem which this project aims to overcome. As many of you might be aware, cardiovascular diseases and other issues pertaining to the heart are one of the most pressing global health problems. For heart diseases, recognizing symptoms and acting upon them in the due time is very crucial for treatment and recovery. However, this can be difficult due to lack of knowledge or reliable resources among the general public, as many simply do not know how to recognize these symptoms or changes soon enough, which can result in response to a certain heart condition. I believe being able to know and understand your heart is significant to achieve good heart health, hence this Know Your Heart app. Next slide, please. And so this is my idea. designing an app that focuses on improving heart health by providing patients with the most likely cause or heart condition corresponding to their symptoms. Through a detailed questionnaire, this app can assess your symptoms and output the most likely and possible condition of your heart. These questionnaires can be taken by the person who has been experiencing the symptoms or by another person who has been observing such in their loved one or someone they know. The questionnaire varies based on this to deliver accurate responses. This app can be used to simply understand the condition of your heart so one can ensure their heart health, or it can be especially useful when it comes to helping discover a potential heart disease in a patient. Next slide, please. Now that I've presented the outline of my idea, I'd like to go more deeper into the features and benefits that this app has to offer. A major aspect of the Know Your Heart app is its credibility. To achieve this, this app is based on information that has been derived from real patient data from hospitals, which has then been further tested by medical reports and statistics. Lack of real patient data is a limitation in many other symptoms apps, and I hope to overcome this limitation through this app. Another feature of this app is communication with healthcare workers. Through this, users can contact healthcare professionals specialized in heart health or cardiology for their queries. We want to be able to give trusted communication to spread knowledge in the right way. Another benefit of the Know Your Heart app is its vast database and hence variety of responses. Through the database, which has been obtained through credible hospital reports, this app can analyze the responses to derive the most likely from the variety of possible heart conditions. Another great feature from this app is spreading heart health awareness. Through this, users will be able to learn something new regarding heart health, such as how to identify different heart condition symptoms, how to react to emergency heart care situations, statistics on global heart health, and spread awareness with their knowledge. Next slide, please. So this project idea is an app. I've created a few designs to help visualize the features of this Know Your Heart app. So the first image that you can see on the left is the main page of the app, which would provide the different options of the app, such as assess your symptoms, know your heart health, and heart health communication. The second image is what it would show if you clicked on assess your symptoms, and shown in the slide is an example question from the questionnaire. The third image is into the Know Your Heart Health category, where it displays an important technique to identify heart stroke through the BFAST. And this is an example of what the public could learn about heart health in general to prevent or learn how to act upon these kinds of situations. And the last image is when you click on healthcare communications, where people can chat with a professional to clarify their heart health queries. Next slide, please. Along with these features and benefits comes technical, social, and logistic issues that need to be solved as well. So one of the limitations of this app could be that inevitably it could be prone to errors due to the ever-growing knowledge of the science field. But we hope to reduce these errors by consistently expanding our databases, which this app relies upon, and as I mentioned before, relying on more real patient data from hospitals to ensure the accuracy as well. A key aspect of this app, as I mentioned, is real patient data. And unfortunately, we can't always ensure if this data is completely true, as it is directly coming from an individual at times. So therefore, I believe it's important to test these patient-based information with statistics and hospital and medical reports before being used as part of the database. Next slide. And finally, I'd just like to say that the true mission and vision of this is to help people around the world know about their heart so they can take the right actions for it in time. And the next slide, I believe, is just my references. And thank you.
Awesome. Okay, great job. Thank you for walking us through everything. And I liked your inclusion of a couple of the different designs to help us understand what it would look like. So I was just wondering, are there any specific types of heart diseases or conditions or a certain age demographic you're looking to market this to? Because for some people that have cardiovascular disease, they're a little bit older, so it might be harder to get them to use an app like this. How do you foresee overcoming some limitations like that?
So when it comes to the target audience for this app, I think it would just be like the general public in overall, because heart diseases can happen to older patients as well as younger patients. So I think it's important to, um, especially in the questionnaires, to include a broad variety of questions so it can directly assess each individual and like give the accurate response for it. And when it comes to knowing how what sorry, what was your second question, or was that just it?
Just how do you foresee overcoming a potential limitation of maybe older adults that don't have as much technological experience?
Okay, coming to that, as I mentioned, our questionnaire has two options. The patient themselves can assess themselves through their symptoms, which would definitely be more helpful because they know what's happening to them in their body. But it can also be taken by another individual, for example, someone that lives in their house that has been observing these symptoms. Um, and this could be useful if it's an older patient because they themselves might not be able to use the app, but another one can use it and still get like accurate results for it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No worries. Okay, so next up we have Tiffany and Natalie.
Okay, wait, I'll share my slide. Can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, this is our Research Symposium presentation. It's about an air smart tech, and I'm Natalie.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is our table of contents. Okay. So what is our problem? Our study focuses on improving the daily lives of those with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This disease is rather costly to manage on a daily basis, so we wanted to come up with a possible solution to not only make treatment more affordable, but also make it one patients are able to manage more easily on their own. Of the 5 leading causes of death, it is the only one whose mortality rate continues to rise by the year. The mortality of this disease has increased 22% in the last decade. How is this study relevant? We were interested in the significance of this disease due to how much of an impact it has on the world as a leading cause of death, causing millions of deaths worldwide. Patients with COPD have a frequent emergency visits, higher rates of hospitalizations compared with controls, and readmission is common. For our research question, we decided to ask ourselves, how can we make this treatment of this disease more affordable and accessible? And what can help support those suffering with this disease? So first of all, what is COPD? Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, also known as COPD, is a progressive lung disease that causes breathing problems and restricted airflow. This means the patient has a shortness of breath due to airflow blockage. And because of this, it can be hard to understand and manage. This damage can happen most commonly by being in smoky or air-polluted areas for a long period of time, making cigarette smoking a principal risk factor for COPD. What happens to people with this disease? Their lungs often become clogged with phlegm. They have breathlessness and an increased risk for other health problems such as lung infections, for example, pneumonia, lung cancer, heart problems, weaker bones and muscles, and it may affect patients' mental health. This disease progressively gets more difficult to carry out day-to-day activities, and it can place a financial burden on many due to the cost of medical treatment. Statistics. As an overview, 16 million Americans have been diagnosed with COPD, and millions more have symptoms of this disease, but have been yet to be diagnosed. Around 6.4% of US adults in a population of 14.3 million in 2011 and 6.5% of US adults in a population of 14.2 million in 2021 had this disease, as shown in the first table. Some trends over time. COPD rates have been higher for women than men, and ages 45 to 64 are at higher risk, showing that those of older age may be more prone to getting the disease. White people or non-Hispanic are at higher risk compared to other ethnicities. And current and former smokers are at a higher risk compared to other adults with COPD that do not smoke. These stats remain pretty stable between 2011 and 2021, but some small increases and decreases in some categories occur because of the decrease in the amount of people smoking in the age groups outside of 45 to 64. I'll pass it on to Tiffany.
So onto the graphs. Next slide. So the graph on the left shows the rough correlation of age with the percentage of how many people are diagnosed with COPD. And the right graph shows the rates of FEV, which is forced expiratory volume in the first second, which is a lung function test that measures how much air a person can forcefully exhale in a second. As shown on the graph on the right, the amount of air that people can exhale steadily decreases from mid-30s until age 50. Next slide. So the symptoms for COPD include cough, sometimes with phlegm that are left over in the lungs over a long period of time, difficulty breathing, wheezing, also tiredness or lack of energy or fatigue, unexplained weight loss or gain, reoccurring respiratory infections, as well as frequent dizziness and headaches. Next slide. So what is the cost to treat or diagnose COPD? COPD medical costs are about $4,000 to $4,500 per year on average. CT scans can help determine the type, severity, and progression of COPD if surgery is needed. And on average, the cost of CT scans is about $2,000. As of June 2024, a maintenance treatment medication for adult patients called ensifentrine was approved by the FDA. However, it cost a staggering $35,400 per year, according to the original manufacturer. And as you can tell, this type of medication treatment is very expensive, especially for those struggling financially. For the affordability and access, at the price of 35.5 per year for ensifentrine, approximately only 0.5% of US patients eligible could be treated within 5 years without crossing the ICER potential budget impact threshold of 735 million per year. And as you can see in the graph on the right, in the last 6 decades, the healthcare costs in the US has drastically increased by almost 15%, which goes to show how expensive many sources of medication are becoming. And the graph on the left is just like a visual of how the lungs of COPD patients look like when they are dealing with this disease. And the COPD lungs are obviously filled with more mucus, as you can tell by the brown areas of the picture on the bottom left. Next slide. So, what are the present solutions right now? These days, there are some solutions which can be used to assist patients with their breathing, including inhalers, spirometers, and other breathing devices that continue to be developed. So in the 1700s, the inhalers were they were developed, and they have two different acting they have two different the ways of acting. So there's a short acting inhaler, which is used when a patient is breathless all of a sudden, and a long-acting version, which is used more regularly to control breathlessness and if the symptoms are regular. And in around the mid 1800s, spirometry device was created, which it produces more accurate and reproducible methods of assessing lung function. And the improvements for this device include e-devices being produced, decreasing the prices to $300 to $500. In 1900s, the types of inhalers were bronchodilators and steroids. These inhalers allowed airways to relax and keep them open and reduce swelling or inflammation in the lungs. And this is the most recent. The next one is the most recent development. In 2016, the AirSmart spirometer was developed, and this is the most portable spirometer. It's easy to use, which is not shown in the previous devices that were made in the previous years. It's more advanced, and it's able to display the results of a spirometry test on a smartphone or a device. Next slide.
Okay, solutions and methods. However, solutions that were just discussed are oftentimes not the most accessible to many patients because of how costly they are. Because of this, new and more accessible tools, which are formed using already existing products, can be made to better manage one's COPD and provide for a patient's needs in the comfort of their own home. We had a goal to develop an affordable, accurate, and most importantly, accessible diagnostic tools for COPD, similar to portable spirometers or breath analysis technologies. Smart technology. So we made our solution like part smart technology, and we made it to manage and improve the daily lives of patients by monitoring in real time, by detecting symptoms and providing more care to them. Our solution. What's our solution? Our solution is to create an app that is able to connect to the already existing AirSmart spirometer product to display test results and therefore manage technology settings. like those on an air purifier and AC, to better manage the symptoms of COPD patients by improving air quality. The air purifier can improve lung function, reduce air pollution, and produce clear air by filtering out small particles which may enter the lungs and cause inflammation. The AC can both clean and cool the air in the surrounding environment, as well as reduce the humidity levels. Having higher humidity levels can cause inflammation in the lungs, making it much more difficult for patients with COPD to breathe. Having the smart technology available to many allows patients to manage their symptoms of a possibly life-threatening disease, like COPD, in a comfortable environment without much help from others.
Onto the
What's some evidence that proves our solution? Air purifiers. Air purifiers have been shown to reduce indoor air pollutants like particulate matter, which are known to exacerbate COPD symptoms and can lead to lung worsening. An air smart spirometer. Because this is already a product, it makes it even more precise and reliable instrument for detecting obstructed airway diseases. And using this as part of our solution, we can make it more reliable for patients to use, therefore making it more trustworthy. This is also a form of remote monitoring, making it a better disease management by detecting early worsening of a disease and reducing hospital admissions. So because this is done at home, it is much easier to manage this disease like by yourself on a daily basis rather than like with a doctor, which takes up even more time and more money, of course. Okay. An estimated cost of our solution.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. I just plugged my computer. But the estimated cost of the solution, so our goal was to make a more affordable solution for patients who are already struggling financially due to medical costs from having the disease, while finding a way to slow down and reverse the progression of COPD. So right now, the already existing portable HEPA device, the HEPA 13 air purifier is $150 to $360, and HEPA stands for high efficiency particulate air that can remove 99.95% of air particles, only 0.2 microns in diameter. These portable air conditioners with around 12,000 to 4,000 BTU cost $350 to $500. And our solution for creating an app to control this smart home device and this AC costs around 75,000 to 125,000. So our app entails basic use interface and features to simplify and translate a certain range of results from the spirometer to settings in the AC and air purifier. Okay, so on to the next slide. For ethicality and ethical dilemmas, making our solution ethical was one of the most important things, since we wanted our patients to know the product they were using keeps their information safe, is easy to use, reliable, accessible, and best of all, affordable. So, how does patients' privacy and security look like? Patients use this device on their own benefit, so none of their information is disclosed. For their freedom, patients have control over this smart device. The results displayed through this app automatically control settings on the AC/air purifier, but patients are still able to control their own preferences through the app.
Okay. Affordability. The positive feedback received so far is incredibly promising. And accessibility. Patients are able to access this device at all times since it is portable and can be easily controlled through an electronic device. As you can see, like, because it is portable, it is much easier to use on hand and compared to if it was not portable and it would have to take much longer to like access it. Reliability. Using an already developed product strengthens the reliability of the product. Because the AirSmart tech is controlled electronically using a device rather than manually, there's a smaller margin of error, making it more reliable. Pros and cons of our solution. Because using our air purifier and AC as part of our solution, the air purifier can help manage and reduce contact with indoor irritants and pollutants. Managing these indoor issues is important because they can lead to COPD flare-ups, which is not good, obviously. An environment change, according to the patient's need, is done when this device is used. And this is done at home and in a comfortable environment. Because some people may have anxiety being in a hospital setting, it is much easier to control this at home by themselves. Their AC helps control the symptoms of the patient by lowering humidity levels. It also preserves air quality in the best way, in addition to cooling the whole house evenly, which can generally be considered the most suitable option for COPD patients. Also, this can be used offline, meaning Wi-Fi is not required for this to work. This makes it so much more reliable because it doesn't fully rely on connection. For cons, this device is not fully monitored by doctors 24/7, and emergency situations responses may be delayed as compared to if they were in a hospital setting. However, this app is tested beforehand, or we want this app to be tested beforehand by doctors and make sure it is medically accurate so that what the patients are using will be fully reliable and accurate. Finally, our vision. Our vision is to recognize what measurements this app can control. For example, our like using the AirSmart spirometer, like for example, like showing the FEV, how much breath a patient can exert in 1 second, and research what settings on the portable air purifier and AC can better control the symptoms of the patients and which conditions are the best, like according to a certain result that appears on the spirometer or on the device. We also want to figure out how to allow the app to directly connect the devices in order to change those settings. Because it is electronically managed, like through the AirSmart spirometer to the device, to the AC/air purifier, to connect to see which settings work best for what conditions. We want to make sure, tying into that, we want to make sure the app is able to function properly with possible situations, and most importantly, add an alert for if abnormal readings are detected. So if abnormal readings are detected, the app alerts the patient's loved ones or close people so that they can like monitor what's going on, or like if they need to even bring them to the hospital. For our app, we want to add automatic sensors or actions like adjusting the air purifier and AC if any bad air quality is detected, or if there's a high humidity level in their environment, or the patient has issues breathing as a result of that. We want to test these alerts and automations on a diverse tester group, like for example, people that already have COPD, and see if it actually automatically adjusts according to their symptoms. We want to ensure this cost is as affordable as possible. For example, we made our AC and air purifier like a portable version so that it would be much less expensive than if it was built in. And making the app, it's like basically free for the people who are trying to use it. And lastly, we want to review the effectiveness of the integration to make sure the AirSmart technology will function as designed. So we want to do as many trials as possible to make sure that there are as few errors as possible, or close to none, when this device is being used by patients. Okay, and these are our references. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. It was extremely thoughtful. So I just had a question. So it was a creative solution about, making it smart, making an app that is, embedded with, or I guess connected to like the AC and different types of purifiers. But I just wanted to know if many communities may not have access to these type of technologies. So how would you try to combat those issues?
To maybe combat those issues, maybe we can like to branch off of that. We can even like create a solution where it doesn't have to like only connect to AC or like purifiers that cost money, like you have to pay for. But you can also use it to like for more simpler like functions like lowering the temperature in the environment or like raising it, but not recommended as much. Like or you can just like use it like the device, the spirometer to connect to the device, but like not necessarily change the environment for people who are like more in poverty, I guess, and are not able to afford this as much.
Okay. Yes. Great answer, and thank you so much for that presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next presentation is April Alonso.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Um, can you guys see? How do I?
Yes, we can see it. It's not in presentation mode. Okay, perfect. Now it is. Okay, you're good.
So, hi, I'll be doing my innovation on the little roller. My name is Abril Alonso. Um, how do I remove this? Oh, okay. This is the table of contents. So my story, temperature creator innovations, how to disconnect to pregnancy, malnutrition, infectious diseases, and educate healthcare, economic disparities, and is this a good idea? Okay. So my story. Oh, okay. I was born and raised from Brooklyn, New York, and I go to school at Manhattan University Neighborhood High School. I'm 17 years old and a rising senior for the upcoming school year. My favorite colors are pastel, as you can see in my presentation, and I love to enjoy interacting with new people with some interests. These are just some facts about me. So my motivation. So a quick story is that my mom was going through a miscarriage, and through like this motivation, I grew up as the only child, and with my mom having terrible losses and challenges with fertility and pregnancy. I always wonder, like, I would want to be an obstetrician in the medical field in the future, because so many pregnant women go through many things like complications, different symptoms, and I feel like this is a great way to show my innovation and interest at the same time. So, time to create our innovation. So, are you for real a little roller? You may think the little roller as like a way to paint your walls, like those little rollers to paint, or like to dust or hairs on your clothes. It's none of these rollers. But I would say that it looks like the one that's indicated in the arrow below here. I would want to mention that this little roller is small and complex for individuals to have access. You can imagine yourself this roller with like a box like that, and have like sides of buttons for setting control. It's just a little small little roller. So who can this work on, and what experience we'll have to conduct for this innovation to work? So for patients, because this is for global regions. So this work could be like this work with anyone, like for everyone. Um, Most young adults take precaution and work on their diets and physical and mental health, which is very important. Um, you should buy this innovation at above 18 years old, just for any emergencies. So for conducting experiments, the little roller will be conducted on diabetic patients but firstly we'll work on the diabetic patients because for this innovation we want like the precise number of sugar and pressure levels that for the device can process quick data. So we will want to work on that first to have the consistency of knowing that the little roller may work on various things. And to conclude, like for this slide, just a slide, is that this innovation is adaptable because you would just be rolling on your stomach, like there will be no needles, no bleeding, and yeah, and this may cost an average of 1,000 for each little roller. Um, you may say, oh, why is it like so less of money to for the economy? Well, because we'll be talking about an adequate healthcare and economic disparities after, and if anyone has like financial need or anything, they may pay as for their healthcare insurance or payment. So, oh, oh, how did I do that? Okay, so meaning this will be accessible for nurses and doctors and stay-home nurses who may stay with a pregnant woman. And even though I mentioned this can work with individual, just for reading full instructions of the innovation, the little roller will not need Wi-Fi or hotspot. It will be accessible for anyone in the global Earth. Um, so just taking 4 passes on your stomach, it will get enough data. The little roller will have an accessible charger that can last to 49 hours. So how does this connect to pregnancy? Well, can pregnant women have cardiovascular issues? Cardiovascular conditions that may happen during pregnancy are abnormal heart rhythms, high blood pressure, and prepardium cardiomyopathy, heart failure. Signs and symptoms can be chest pain, lightheaded, fatigue, rapid heart rate, increased urination at night, consistent coughing, and swelling of feet, arms, and hands. Also, many would not take precautions, and we would advise each other one to another of the risk factors that let me remind you. So, one of these risk factors can cause you these cardiovascular conditions during pregnancy. Could be smoking, being overweight, family genetic history, high cholesterol, not being not doing any physical activity, and being over 30. But every woman is different. So, can pregnant women have neurological issues? Epilepsy and other seizure disorders are common neurological conditions that can be seen in pregnancy. These neurological diseases can cause danger for the mother and baby because the mother can have a seizure which may decrease the oxygen and have an accident that may cause the mother to fall and cause an accidental injury. Many pregnant women can develop neurological symptoms and require specialized care. Headaches and migraines are neurological conditions that can affect pregnant women too. It can be seen as a minor thing, but it takes a lot of advantage in your brain. You may not even notice. Do pregnant women get diabetes during pregnancy? Many pregnant women can develop diabetes during their pregnancy. Gestational diabetes is a diabetes very known because it develops during pregnancy. This is a glucose intolerance that may affect the baby and the mother. Gestational diabetes is unpredictable because it can happen any time of the stage of pregnancy. Gestational diabetes may disappear after giving birth. The symptoms of gestational diabetes are frequent urination, nausea, thirst, and tiredness. Can obesity happen to pregnant women? There can be consequences due to being obese during your pregnancy. Obesity can lead to women having high blood pressure and blood clotting problems. This may give the increase of gestational diabetes and cesarean section for the complications of being obese. Even the infant can go through consequences and excessive gestational weight gain, which can lead to an increase of birth weight and possibility of weight retention. So, can pregnant women have cancer? Many pregnant women, many pregnant women can be diagnosed with cancer. It is so uncommon to be diagnosed during pregnancy stages, but it's still rare and still have to take precaution. Some cancers that are known are breast cancer, cervical cancer, thyroid cancer, colon cancer, and ovarian cancer. Even though it's uncommon, you can be the smallest percentage of being diagnosed with cancer. This is why we should advise each other as peers. Pregnant women can have cancer before and during their treatment. Chemotherapy and radiotherapy stages of the mother can be risky for unborn babies and cause them harm. All this information will be having to notify a doctor of planning how to deliver your baby in cesarean or vaginal birth. So malnutrition. How does malnutrition affect pregnant women? Everything is connected in some way for being extremely careful about being pregnant. For instance, the proper nutrition during your pregnancy. Overall, malnutrition can cause diseases and infections from sickness. Malnutrition can be caused by age, family size, and hyperemesis garderium. Because many women that are pregnant have different symptoms, and vomiting can cause weight loss and throwing up so many nutritions that would be like hard to notice. What many pregnant women with malnutrition issues can go through are anemia, protein and energy undernutrition, and micronutrition deficiencies of iron, folate, calcium, vitamin D, and vitamin E. These vitamins will be so infectious diseases. So what type of infectious diseases? Many infectious diseases during women's pregnancy could be HIV, rubella, hepatitis, etc. Many pregnant women have to take action during their first parental care visit, prenatal care visit, and be able to have access to getting blood tests or urine tests to have proper diagnostics. These pregnant women have to be careful because many women cannot take a lot of medication or antibiotics due to harming their baby. Inadequate healthcare. So, how many pregnant women have an adequate access of healthcare? Only about 15% of all people employed with STEM field are affiliated as Hispanic or Latinos. I'm willing to mention this because this is just like a community with underrepresented in the STEM fields. But yeah, they have like many public hospitals, which our community tends to rely upon and are underfunded and overwhelmed that could lead inadequate care. These problems are compounded by language barriers, which can lead to incomplete health information to key information getting lost in translation. As for me, my parents only know Spanish, and whenever they go to these hospitals or clinics, they don't get the same access of healthcare. Um, so the accessibility of maternity care is impossible in this world. For example, 2022, about 60% of births in the United States were of women not receiving inadequate perinatal care. Many of the women were having no perinatal care or any support. So economic disparities. What economic disparities do pregnant women have? During this time, so much is happening in the world. Pregnant women face so many obstacles within economic disparities through racism or discrimination. For example, poverty is an enduring global issue that takes the disadvantage of quality care to contribute to maternal health, which may include food, housing, instability, and stress, including a white woman's status that they have an economic advantage with health insurance, and a woman of color not have the same education in Paris a white woman. It is 5 times more likely that the woman of color would die from an emergency of pregnancy. Is this a good idea? So no comparison with the rest of these innovations already invented. After going through the obstacles of these global enduring issues of women, um, this innovation can be seen for diabetes, obesity, cancer stages, cardiovascular, and neurology issues. It will give data as, for example, if the patient already has diabetes, just rolling on the roller in your stomach, you may know the moment to put insulin or the units that you're supposed to put in. The roller will always set a timer of your adjustment that way. You can remember, or it could ring, that way you wouldn't be stressing yourself and knowing that, oh, you're taking care of yourself, you're knowing what are your needs for your health. um, Many hospital clinics will have access, especially low income and adequate healthcare and financial need. This may give the birth outcomes and low cost for the resources on the global regions. And these are my resources or references. And thank you for listening. And I hope you have a great day. And you can connect with me in LinkedIn and in Instagram. That'll be all.
Thank you so much, April. It was a great presentation. I love your passion relating to, pregnancy, and um, I thought it was very inspiring. I just wanted to talk about, your solution. I believe is
The little rotor.
and I wanted to know. This was like
Sorry,
data
I can't hear you.
diabetes, if it's rolling on the stomach process of it. Oh, can you hear me?
No, I couldn't hear you. You're
Hello.
Can you repeat yourself, please?
Yeah, of course. So I just wanted to know your solution of the little roller. So how does it collect data, relating to diabetes, if it's rolling on the stomach? What's the process for that?
Oh, so the practices are for like the conducting experiment of diabetes. So as I said, you like say you have your stomach, right? And you just put the roller like that. And I did mention that you could like know how many insulin and etc. But the question was the diabetes. Um, so what I know is that, and I investigated was that in your stomach you could put insulin or in your arm, but mostly we'll take it on the belly, on the stomach, and when you rub it, you will get like a specific number, average, because um, with conducted experiments it may not work consistently, but hopefully, and we'll get the number of results of your sugar levels and connecting with the other ones like obesity. You can know if you're overweight or underweight during your pregnancy, or is it connecting with your um, cholesterol levels and etc.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, April. Okay, so we're gonna go to our next group. I believe it's Alyssa, um, Hannah.
I don't know if I see them in the meeting. If you want, you can give it a minute and then go to the next group.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I don't see any of the group members on the call. So you can go to the next group if you want. I think you cut out a bit, but I also don't see the next group.
Yeah, I don't.
Either. Yeah. Let's see if the group after that is here. And I think I see at least one group member here. I think this is group 12.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the next group.
Hang on, I think Trisha's cutting out a bit. So I think our next group is Arwa, Rauda, Sohila, Doa, Miriam, and Mena. Are any of you here?
Yeah, I am Arwa. I will present.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So it seems that shares one image only. But okay, wait a second, please. Okay. Is it shared? Okay.
We can see you.
You can see the image.
Yep, I can see the image.
Okay. Sorry for the disturbance, but I'm presenting from mobile and computer, so it will be different. Okay. First, our team is MHATEB team. It's clear that we are Egyptians. I'm Arwa Tamil, and my team is Zawda Muhammad, Mariam Ahmed, Suhaila Ibrahim, Dua Shaban, and Minna Tawfiq. So our team is MHATEB because Imhotep is the Egyptian king in ancient Egypt, who is the first doctor, and even some people worshipped him for that. So that's our logo and team name. The logo is an ancient Egyptian model of the heart. Okay. Our research is gene therapy for cardiac health. Okay. Let's go into that. Okay. This research explores the potential of gene therapy in treating both acquired and inherited cardiac diseases. The focus includes major conditions like dilated cardiomyopathy, inherited cardiomyopathy, congenital heart valve disease, arrhythmias, and other serious gene diseases that affect the life of the people from embryos to all their life. They are affected by these diseases. So to describe gene therapy mechanism, as replacing defective gene, adding a new gene, and regulating gene expression. The mechanisms are examined to assess their effectiveness in treating cardiac conditions. So, for the genetic changes in cardiac health, there are the hereditary heart conditions that result from mutation in gene responsible for heart development and function, impacting health from birth or developing later in life. Understanding these genetic factors is essential for early diagnosis and effective treatment. Improved knowledge enhances prevention strategies and treatment outcomes. So the importance of gene therapy, we have prevention and mortality reduction. Effective gene therapy could prevent fatal complications, lower mortality rates, enhance quality of life through early and precise interventions. So we have also economic and social benefits. Early diagnosis and treatment can reduce healthcare costs, lessen the burden on healthcare systems, and promote medical innovation. Also, research and community has impact in advancing gene therapy that could lead to new treatments, better genetic testing, and improved support for affected individuals. So our common genetic heart disorders, we can say that these are the most common and the most serious diseases that affect life, that affects individuals' life clearly. We have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Sorry, it's an abnormal thickening of the heart muscle walls affecting blood flow. It's a result of autosomal dominant mutations in genes like MYH7, MYPPCC, and its symptoms are shortness of breath, chest pain, palpitations, increased risk of sudden cardiac arrest. It affects 1 in 500 people, so it's prevalent worldwide. It's not, it's very common, not a little disease. So, second, we have familial hypercholesterolemia. It's a genetic disorder causing high cholesterol levels, as it's a cholesterolemia, increasing heart disease risk. Genetics, it's autosomal dominant too, but its mutations in LDLR, APOP, PCSK9, and its symptoms is high cholesterol, symptoms early heart disease. Its prevalence is more than more than hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. It's 1 in 250 people, and higher in certain ethnic groups. So you have dilated cardiomyopathy.
Yeah. So now
You hear me too? Is my voice clear?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So you have dilated cardiomyopathy, DCM. It's an enlargement and weakening of the heart ventricles, leading to heart failure. So it's more dangerous than others. Of course, the others are serious diseases, but this is more dangerous. It's in the ventricles. It's more complicated for doctors to detect it or help in these cases. Genetically, it can be autosomal dominant or recessive, not like the last two. It's mutations in TTN, LMNA, MYH7, and symptoms is shortness of breath, fatigue, swelling, palpitations. So it's a bit different. Prevalence, it's common, especially in middle-aged adults, and that's a bit weird because maybe genetical disorders in heart can appear on seniors, not adults, not middle-aged, but this appeared from maybe before 30s, 25, and so on. Last syndrome we have is Brugada syndrome. It's a genetic disorder affecting heart's electrical activity. The Brugada is something like electric shock for the heart, but it's not normal as a normal pulse. It's like unregulated pulse. So it's even more risk and more dangerous and more complicated from the others. Genetically, it's dominant, and it's mutations in SCN5A, CACNA, and its symptoms are fainting, palpitations, seizures, risk of sudden cardiac arrest, and it's more common in males and certain ethnic groups. For the gene therapy mechanisms, our research main topic, we discuss the mechanisms and compare them so the later researchers can see everything more clearly, and for the particular field, it will help researchers and doctors. So first mechanism and the most common and clear mechanism is CRISPR-Cas9. It uses guide RNA, takes a protein, it takes a protein Cas9 and put in it a sample RNA from the patient, and this protein goes into the patient blood near the heart valves or heart near the problem place, so it can take copy of the RNA in it and edit the DNA. So it's copied and copied again, so the patient is no longer has that DNA responsible for the disease. Its effectiveness is very high. It's high precision and cost effective. It costs, but it's effective. Recent advancements improve accuracy and delivery for CRISPR-Cas9. In the future, we believe that enhanced versions and delivery methods are being developed to be more accurate and more effective with maybe lower costs in the future. Second is viral vectors. It's engineered viruses deliver therapeutic genes into cells, and I see it the coolest one and the most different one. As you have virus, the enemy of the body, you make it help you in editing DNA, so it's so cool and different. It's successful in virus gene service. The viral vector itself, the mechanism itself is effective in virus gene service in other disorders. So we believe that using it in heart diseases will be more effective, and its cost is not very low, very high like CRISPR-Cas9. So it's successful in virus gene service. Advances aim to reduce immune responses and enhance targeting, and it's the complexity is in the immune responses. It is a virus, even if I edited its settings, but it's still a virus, and many patients can the body responds to it as a virus, and the DNA can't be copied and edited from it. But in the future, the future of viral vectors depends on the designer of the virus. If the doctor designed it to be more targeted and like editing the errors in it to not be affected by the immune system of the body. Three is lipid nanoparticles. It's encapsulated genetic material for non-viral delivery. it versus the last one, the viral vectors. It's like capsules we take, but exactly in the blood. It's lower cost and reduced immunogenicity and promising for mRNA and used in other disorders, not the cardiac health at the moment, but it's used for other disorders. It needs only improving targeting and delivery efficiency to be used in cardiac health. 4 is gene editing using stem cells, modifying genes in stem cells, which are then used to replace or repair defective cells. It's very near to CRISPR-Cas9, but not a protein deliver RNA. It's just a part from the body itself. We edit it and it's covered and pasted in the body, in the patient's body. It's a potential for repairing heart tissue, and it's used already. But the ongoing research in stem cells need to focus on enhancing differentiation and minimizing immune rejection as viral vectors. And for targeting, it's not very accurate or definite in using it. There are genome editing techniques like zinc fingers nucleases, talons meganucleases. There are various techniques for targeting specific DNA sequences and introducing bit changes. There are apparently the same technique, but using different material in the technique. Each method has unique advantages and unique disadvantages. Research aims to improve efficiency and reduce costs of these 3 techniques. In the future, developing more versatile and cost-effective options will be helpful for using these in cardiac health. And to make the research more useful for next doctors and researchers need to use it. And for the particular field, we have these gaps. Okay, the first gaps, they are for cost and efficiency analysis. So for the cost, this graph provides a comparative analysis of the costs associated with various gene editing techniques, including CRISPR-Cas9, viral vectors, lipid nanoparticles, stem cells, zinc, finger nucleases, and TANs. So as you see, let me just to make it clearer. Cost overview, CRISPR-Cas9 and zinc fingers are among the most expensive techniques, with CRISPR-Cas9 reflecting its status as a leading-edge method known for its precision and efficiency. Despite its high cost, ongoing advancements are expected to reduce expenses as the technology becomes more refined and widely adopted. Lipid nanoparticles stand out as the most cost-effective option in the graph. This lower cost can be attributed to their simpler production process and fewer regulatory hurdles compared to viral vectors, but their affordability makes them a promising alternative for gene delivery, but they are not very available for everyone. Zinc fingers as ZFNs incurs the highest costs. They are driven by its complexity. This approach, while potentially revolutionary, remains limited by its high financial and procedural demands. Stem cells editing and talents exhibit intermediate costs. Talents is noted for its complexity and the expense of custom protein design, while stem cells editing, despite their high specificity and concentrated by a limited number of target sites and changes in delivery. For the second graph, it illustrates the efficiency of different gene editing techniques. CRISPR-Cas9 viral vectors, lipid nanoparticles, stem cells, ZFNs, and talents. As you see, lipid nanoparticles stands out as the most efficient technique, thanks to its high precision and versatility. It offers rapid and reliable gene editing across a wide range of organisms and genetic targets. Ongoing enhancements to lipid nanoparticles technology are expected to further improve its efficiency and reduce off-target effects. Lipid nanoparticles demonstrate strong efficiency in delivering genetic material to cells with relatively high success rates in various applications. Their ability to encapsulate and transport DNA or RNA effectively makes them a valuable tool. So their delivery efficiency can be variable depending on the formulation. This is an important point. Talent and stem cells editing show intermediate efficiency. CRISPR-Cas9, while effective, can be complex and costly to design, not only to use, but also to design. Stem cell-based gene editing exhibit variable efficiency, largely dependent on the success of stem cell differentiation and integration. While the approach holds great potential, the complexity and variability of stem cell behavior can impact overall efficiency. And for the last page, we have future recommendations that for gene selection and delivery, we suggest that focus on precision, appropriate vectors, and optimal dosages. For safety and effectiveness, just preclinical and clinical trials are essential. We know they are hard. You can't take a patient to try on him, but it's essential for evaluating long-term outcomes and minimizing risks. Immune responses are also a very challenging point. It addresses potential immune reactions to vectors to ensure effective and safe gene therapy applications. So it can be done outside of the patient body, and it's more easier and safer. As a conclusion, gene therapy holds sufficient promise for advancing cardiac health, offering potential cures and improvements for genetic heart diseases. Ongoing research and technological advancements are critical for overcoming current challenges and releasing the full potential of these therapies. And that's all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we'll give you a little round of applause. It was a great, really detailed solution. I was just wondering, what would your first phase of trials look like? Would you do clinical trials, go right to human trials? You probably have to do some kind of work on maybe animals like mice. So I was just wondering what that would look like.
For the trial, it may be hard in people. Trying on patients is not illegal and hard, but you can, if in some points, like immune response, you can take a sample from the patient and try on it. We can, to make it more accurate, you have to take from the same patient or from the same family that have that disorder, as it is genetic. You have to take samples from baby and toddler and adult and senior to try on it and have accurate detail for its efficiency. Okay, so some trials can be made in labs, just a sample, but some others must have the patient or even have like a complete surgeon things that have if someone has very enhanced and difficult case in his disorder, so he can try the last techniques and see what will happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Great job. Okay, next up we have Allie.
Uh, wait, are you guys able to see my screen right now?
Yep.
Okay. Um, my presentation will start in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. I'm Ali, a high school student, and I'm gonna kickstart my presentation with a made-up comprehensive solution on Parkinson's disease, which is AI-based image analysis on its biomarkers. Before I start off this presentation, imagine a promising day suddenly taking a drastic turn. Andrew starts his day like any other, but a strange sensation in his hand stops him in his tracks. As the day goes on, the numbness persists, leading to a visit to the doctor and a life-changing diagnosis of Parkinson's disease. The news shakes his world, but he is determined to fight back. Conventional treatments bring some degree of relief, but a permanent cure remains elusive. Believe it or not, real life cases like this really exist in real life. But what if I told you there's a revolutionary device that could change everything for Parkinson's patients? Before we delve into the main topic, take a moment to consider these figures. A staggering 10 million people worldwide are currently affected by Parkinson's disease. Since the year 2000, this condition has tragically resulted in 329,000 deaths. In addition, Parkinson's has led to 5.8 million disability-adjusted life years lost, which is equivalent to the annual health loss of one person. Sadly, it is to say that these numbers only scratch the surface of the severity of this issue. When it comes to the global impact of this urgent disease, Parkinson's is the second most common neurological disorder in the United States. In China and Africa, there is a notable number of individuals affected by Parkinson's due to the unique genetic makeup of African descent, marking them as the top 3 countries with people infringed from Parkinson's disease. Dealing with the issue of Parkinson's disease is crucial due to its high and increasing prevalence, with sufficient evidence shown in the previous slides. Moreover, Parkinson's disease has a significant personal and societal impact, affecting an individual's quality of life. The economic burden is also substantial due to healthcare costs and caregiver support. Add to that is the lack of a cure and limited treatment options. Currently, available treatments only provide symptomatic relief and do not modify the underlying disease progression, which calls for the development of better therapies. When it comes to treating Parkinson's disease, there are several available options. For instance, the use of levodopa is a notable treatment that aids in the replacement of lost dopamine in the brain, while dopamine agonists directly stimulate dopamine receptors to mimic the effects of dopamine. Ultimately, they all significantly improve motor symptoms and some reduce the reliance on medication. Apart from those, there are existing therapies that can alleviate this disease shown here. While rehabilitation and supportive care don't offer a cure, they can greatly improve symptoms. However, there is no complete cure for this disease, and they only serve as relieving devices. Specifically for levodopa and dopamine agonists, there's a wearing off effect of the medicine from the treatments. Moreover, there will be the development of motor complications, such as dyskinesias, mainly due to the long-term levodopa use in people who have had Parkinson's for several years. Side effects are undoubtedly caused by long-term medicine dosage, including impulse control disorders, and the inability to halt or reverse disease progression as the treatments don't provide a shortcut for the immediate cure of the disease, and these only wrap up a portion of the drawbacks. Hence, I've implemented my solution with the help of AI. To put it simply, artificial intelligence is a groundbreaking technology that enables you to create, categorize, and carry out tasks such as image analysis. The reason it's utilized in the medical field is that it's used to analyze the connections between clinical data and patient outcomes, as well as to handle predefined diagnoses and treatment plans, saving valuable clinical time. Exemplifying how AI greatly improves human health, AI-powered image analysis can swiftly detect diseases from medical scans, leading to early detection. Additionally, AI algorithms can analyze patient data for precise and personalized diagnoses, and can play a role in the integration of AI with clinical decision support systems that provides real-life recommendations and frees up labor to focus on patient care, accelerating its process. From 2019 to 2022, the usage of AI in healthcare has skyrocketed from 10% to 60%. This upward trend is projected to continue all the way up to 2030, indicating the potential of AI in revolutionizing healthcare. In fact, the usage of AI is widespread in healthcare sectors, ranging from radiology to neurology, with statistics shown here. Summing up my project, I'm utilizing AI-powered image analysis to identify biomarkers of Parkinson's disease, specifically focusing on alpha-synuclein, a brain protein linked to brain cell loss. By employing advanced AI algorithms, we can not only expedite the detection of Parkinson's disease in individuals, but also enhance the accuracy compared to traditional methods. This AI-based approach replaces manual observation and merges cell-based gene and neurological approaches all in one, such as but not limited to stem cell transplantation to gene editing, which are the root causes of the disease. By harnessing the power of AI, we can now identify early biomarkers of Parkinson's disease and tailor treatments to each patient's unique needs, with ideas exemplified here using cell-based, gene, and neurological approaches. These points might be lengthy, but to put it simply, using MRI, PET, and other imaging modalities, this cutting-edge analysis helps stratify patients into distinct subtypes of the disease and guides personalized therapies in the above sectors. And with the neural networks like YOLO version 5, it identifies potential biomarkers for Parkinson's disease in no time. Furthermore, the AI-based imaging system provides infallible insights into the specific brain regions and neuronal populations affected in patients. And it is crucial for targeted delivery and integration of cell-based therapies like gene therapies, such as viral vector-mediated gene delivery or gene editing. By continuously monitoring the effects of these interventions, we can optimize treatment strategies and improve long-term outcomes. And this comprehensive approach will empower clinicians to make informed decisions and deliver tailored treatment strategies overall. To collect and process samples to understand biomarkers of this Parkinson's disease and to utilize these into my project, we use techniques like MRI scans to see inside the brain and collect cerebrospinal fluid blood samples and analyze cellular and genetic components associated with this disease. With genetic samples, we carefully extract DNA and use reactions like polymerase chain reaction to amplify and study the genetic material after centrifugation. Next, we utilize genetic sequencing to identify variants and mutations associated with this disease through biomarkers. Once we have all the data, we compare the biomarker values to control groups to see any signs of Parkinson's disease and dive into finding patterns and combinations of biomarkers in general. Ultimately, it's like piecing skilled healthcare professionals together into one AI device, speeding up its identification. To capture the comprehensive MRI data, we have an MRI scanner with the ability to gather contrast and imaging techniques to ensure that all ethical procedures are in place. To gain deeper insights into the identified biomarkers, we're using explainable AI techniques like attention mechanisms, which will pinpoint the specific imaging features that are crucial for understanding Parkinson's disease biomarkers. And when it comes to the software implementation of this entire AI project in general, we're creating an application that will combine deep learning frameworks with medical imaging software libraries, such as YOLO version 5, like I just said, a neural network that boasts high accuracy to detect microscopic objects like biomarkers. For deployment and integration, the system will be designed to work on high-performance computing infrastructure, including GPU-accelerated servers, enabling to handle computational tasks involved in deep learning model training. We began to use our nifty device to identify biomarkers through these processes, but these might sound lengthy, but to put it simply, we gather MRI data, including structural, diffusion, and quantitative ones from both Parkinson's disease patients and healthy individuals. After that, we clean up the MRI data to fix any common issues and align the MRI contrast to create a unified representation of the brain. Then we later build a deep learning model like an autoencoder to extract features from the integrated MRI data. And it will learn about this entire system without needing to label disease status. And we'll use the learned features to identify unique subgroups or patterns within the rare Parkinson's disease patients or the entire population in general, which we can then validate against clinical and other biomarker data. And then we will use like techniques like attention mechanisms to uncover the features that indicate Parkinson's disease in imaging data. And we'll later combine like the biomarkers with other biomarkers like genetic markers and blood-based data to create a comprehensive profile of Parkinson's disease. And after all, we'll also validate them against clinical data of the biomarkers to further confirm their accuracy. And ultimately, we're going to create a user-friendly application that fits into existing workflows, like I've just mentioned previously, providing interpretations on clinical decision making. And then we'll continuously update the AI system with new insights to make improvements in general. After all, AI-identified imaging biomarkers could be used to track disease progression and monitor the effectiveness of treatments. Longitudinal analysis of it could provide insights into unique disease trajectories, leading to more accurate prognoses and helping clinicians determine the types of interventions in a timely manner. But that's not all. Utilizing deep learning approaches, we could uncover Parkinson's disease subtypes based on imaging biomarkers and clinical characteristics, and utilize cell-based gene and neurological approaches. And it will enable tailored treatment strategies, ensuring like the right interventions are given to the appropriate patient subgroups. And ultimately, AI-derived imaging biomarkers could serve as valuable surrogate endpoints, allowing the timeline to be shortened, and there would be the reduction of costs associated with drug development. For its advantages, it can revolutionize Parkinson's disease diagnosis and management by accurately identifying imaging biomarkers and disease subtypes for early detection and personalized treatment. And with the explainable AI techniques that provide insights into the disease's mechanisms, we can accelerate this process a lot more, which were all exemplified in the previous slide. However, getting hold of top-notch MRI datasets, especially for rare or early-stage Parkinson's disease cases, can be quite a challenge. Another hurdle is that the need for MRI scanners and imaging facilities aren't always readily available in all healthcare settings, particularly in regions with limited resources. And ultimately, the use of deep learning-based algorithms can be very demanding, which might mean needing a lot of computing power or specialized hardware for training and inference. You might wonder, will this innovation face a backlash? In my opinion, it's likely that there will be some degree of backlash, and this gives rise to several major concerns. First, there are ethical and privacy considerations, because we're using sensitive medical imaging data to identify potential biomarkers for this disease, and the potential for bias in AI-based decision-making could raise worries regarding patient privacy, and the public may be hesitant to this. But this device ensures transparency with clinical professionals assisting the clinical trials to ensure the transparency. Another concern might be the lack of interpretability. As to why is that so? Because if the deep learning algorithms used in the system are seen as black boxes with limited explainability, there may be a lack of trust among clinicians and patients in the validity of like the identified biomarkers. And the medical community might also be cautious about that. However, we're trying to do like a few clinical trial sets before the actual device being implemented into the clinical setting. So like professionals will be assisting next to the device to ensure the interpretability is accurate to the patient to protect their health and security. Last but not least, while the device may be costly at the beginning, it's not as expensive as traditional methods for testing the existence of Parkinson's disease. As to why that is so, because it's due to the accelerated process of identifying biomarkers of Parkinson's patients, which speeds up the process and further reduces the cost. To wrap up my extensive presentation, the number of cases of patients with Parkinson's disease is staggering, yet no cure is available up to date to completely mitigate the pain endured. As a result, I've come up with this AI-based image analysis on the biomarkers of Parkinson's disease. Alongside the approach of collecting like MRI-based analysis, deep learning training, and relevant biomarkers from a cohort of Parkinson's disease patients for my device, it mitigates Parkinson's disease from the root by integrating cell-based gene and neurological properties of the disease. Although it is a multifaceted approach, it can be solved by long-term promotion and integration into clinical settings, increasing people's confidence in this device. And here's the list of references used in accordance with the slide. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your great presentation. Loved all of the visuals you had and how descriptive everything was. So I'll give you a quick little round of applause. So you mentioned that some issues may arise with reliability and ensuring that all of the information that the AI system is using is accurate. So I'm just wondering what checks and balances you might implement to make sure all the information that is being provided by the AI system is accurate.
Yes. Like I've just mentioned, before the device is actually put into a clinical workflow setting, we're gonna run a few clinical trials with actual professionals assisting by the side with actual patient trainings to ensure that all of the data inputted are correct and the AI device won't identify Parkinson's disease as another disease, as like the biomarker itself, like I've just mentioned in the slide, might be associated with a wide range of different diseases. And before each clinical trial, we're gonna do like a medical analysis on the patient, and take medical histories, as referring to all of the other pre-diagnosis stage of other diseases where you're going to conduct a cohort of tests to ensure that what we're testing is actually Parkinson's disease. So by ensuring these factors in place, I'm sure with a prolonged period of training, the AI system can ensure accuracy and interpretability in the disease in general. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. I think that's
Thank you.
everyone here that was here to present. So we'll go ahead and wrap up our symposium. Thank you so much again to everyone that stayed for all of the presentations and to everyone that presented. You all did a fantastic job. It was really amazing to see all of you present all of these solutions that you've been working on for at least a couple of weeks. Everything was really thorough, well thought through. The visuals were excellent. It's very clear that everyone put a lot of effort into this, and we really appreciate you for doing that, for taking the time to do this. I hope it was a good experience for you. I know for some of you, this is your first time doing research of any kind, so I hope this encourages you to do more research in the future, to find something you're passionate about and figure out an answer to a question you might have. And we hope that this is a good stepping stone. Feel free to use this to, get other research opportunities at university